My boyfriend told me to make the apartment spotless for his parents because cleaning was my thing and not his, so I made it so spotless that his mother couldn't even stay seated on the couch. My boyfriend had been pulling this helpless act since the beginning of our relationship. A few weeks ago, I watched him stand in front of the washing machine holding a dirty shirt and staring at the buttons like they were written in ancient Greek. "Babe, can you just do this one for me?" he said. "I don't want to mess it up." This was a man with a mechanical engineering degree who could rebuild a car engine from scratch, but somehow a washing machine was beyond his capabilities. I did his laundry because it was easier than arguing, and he kissed me on the cheek and went back to his video game. That was how it always went. I was ready to snap when he told me his parents were coming to visit. "My dad is deciding whether to help me with a down payment on a house," he said without pausing his game, "so I need you to make this place look perfect." I asked if he was going to help, and he laughed. "Babe, you'd just mess it up." I told him I'd take care of everything and grabbed my keys. I spent a long time in the cleaning aisle reading labels, and I chose my products very carefully. I cleaned the apartment that night while he played video games, and by the time I was done, everything was gleaming. The next morning, my boyfriend decided to inspect my work. He sat down on the couch and slid a little and nodded approvingly and said the leather felt perfectly smooth. He ran his finger along the coffee table checking for dust and said he couldn't find any. It was like glass. He went to the kitchen and shuffled his socks on the floor and said it was so clean it was slippery, and that was exactly what he wanted. He touched the dining table and rubbed his fingers together and said it felt soft and polished and his mom was going to love it. Thursday, he checked the bathroom and came out nodding and said it smelled fresh and the mirrors were spotless. Friday night, he did a final walkthrough, running his hands over every surface like a drill sergeant doing a barracks inspection. He sat on the couch again and said it was perfect. He leaned on the dining table and said it was perfect. He came out of the bathroom and said it was perfect. Everything was ready. Saturday morning, he woke up grinning and said his parents were going to be completely blown away. I smiled and told him they definitely would be. His parents arrived at 2 in the afternoon. His mother stepped inside and looked around and said the apartment was beautiful. Then she walked over to the leather couch and sat down and immediately slid sideways like she had just sat on a buttered cookie sheet. She yelped and grabbed for the armrest, but her hand slipped right off and she went down hard onto the floor with her legs flying up in the air. I bit the inside of my cheek to keep from smiling. My boyfriend ran over saying, "Mom, Mom, are you okay?" and tried to help her up, but his hands kept slipping on her arms because her blouse was now coated in whatever was on that couch. His father rushed to the dining table to put down the wine, and the second his palm touched the wood, his whole arm shot forward and he stumbled and nearly face planted into the centerpiece. He stared at his hand like it had been dipped in Vaseline. "What the hell is on this table?" he said. My boyfriend was still struggling to get his mother off the floor, his voice getting higher and more panicked as he kept saying he didn't know. He had no idea what was happening. His mother finally got to her feet and looked at the huge, dark, oily stains spreading across the back of her slacks. "I need to use your bathroom," she said through gritted teeth, and about 20 seconds later, she screamed. She came back holding her hands out like they were covered in toxic waste. "There is something all over your mirrors and your counters and your floors," she said. "What is going on in this apartment?" My boyfriend looked at me with pure desperation, silently begging me to step in and fix this like I always did. I just looked back at him and shrugged. His face crumpled. His father wiped his hand on his pants and looked at his son with something worse than anger. It was disappointment. "You told me you were ready to own a home," he said quietly. "You can't even keep an apartment clean." My boyfriend grabbed a dish towel and ran to the table and started frantically wiping, but he was just smearing the greasy film around in circles because he had no idea what he was doing. His mother picked up her purse. "We're leaving," she said, "and I don't think we'll be discussing the down payment." My boyfriend's voice cracked as he begged them to wait, but they were already out the door. He turned to me with tears streaming down his face. "I don't understand," he said, his voice cracking. "You cleaned everything. You cleaned the whole apartment. How did this happen?" I shrugged. "I don't know, babe. I guess cleaning just isn't my thing. Maybe next time you should do it yourself."